In this video presentation, you will learn about the work of the Reading Support Continuum Work Group, previously known as the Dyslexia Work Group. We will also discuss warning signs for students who struggle with phonemic and phonological awareness, which are often associated with dyslexia, and next steps. The Reading Support Continuum Task Force was developed in the summer of 2015 to research dyslexia and available supports for students who struggle with phonemic and phonological awareness. Let's look at the statistics. According to the International Dyslexia Association, 1 in 5 children are dyslexic. That means in a classroom of 20 students, there are likely 4 who struggle with phonemic and phonological awareness. 70 to 80% of people with poor reading skills have dyslexic-like characteristics. The same percentage of males and females are affected, as well as those from a variety of ethnic and socioeconomic backgrounds. With continued research and discussion around this topic, the work group's vision for addressing concerns in the area of reading shifted. Clearly illustrated in a 2016 publication by the International Literacy Association, weaknesses in the areas of phonemic and phonological awareness, often associated with dyslexia, are just a portion of the more global reading skills necessary for all learners. The vision for the work group became clear, enhancing all of the foundational literacy skills that support student proficiency in all areas of reading. It was at this time the work group changed its name from the Dyslexia Work Group to the Reading Support Continuum Work Group. The Reading Support Continuum Work Group is focusing on all 5 areas of reading: phonemic awareness, phonological awareness and phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. The work group is aligning intentional supports and interventions in these 5 areas for the 3 tiers of MTSS: core instruction, targeted or supplemental intervention, and intensive intervention. A very abbreviated definition of dyslexia is difficulty with language. Dyslexia is neurologically based and often hereditary. It occurs in people who usually have an average to an above average intelligence quotient, with varying degrees of severity. Dyslexia interferes with the acquisition and processing of language. It is manifested by difficulties in receptive and expressive language and affects reading, writing, spelling, and handwriting. There are 3 primary areas of the brain that work together when reading. The first one is called the Broca's area. This area is responsible for articulation of words and understanding of whole words. The second area, called the primary auditory cortex, links spoken and written language to memory in order to give it meaning so we can understand what we read and hear. The third area is the primary visual cortex. This area is important in the identification of letters. For individuals that have dyslexia, these areas of the brain do not communicate efficiently. Something to remember is that Fargo Public Schools employees are not qualified to label or diagnose dyslexia. However, the work group has identified some warning signs to look for in a span of grade levels. Please note that any 1, 2, or 3 of these warning signs by themselves can be part of natural childhood development, but when occurring after long-term direct instruction and practice with minimal progress toward the skill, a teacher should bring the student to the MTSS team. Let's start with the warning signs for preschool-aged students. These students may have delayed speech. They may switch sounds in multisyllabic words, such as biscotti and aminal. They may stutter. They may have consistent confusion with directionality words. These students may have difficulty establishing a dominant hand, difficulty learning to tie their shoes, difficulty memorizing a phone number, and difficulty creating rhymes. In addition to the preschool warning signs, the following warning signs may be evident in elementary school-age students. These students may have difficulty finding the right word when they're speaking. They are often messy and disorganized. They tend to struggle with dysgraphia and learning cursive handwriting. They tend to have many letter reversals after first grade. These students also have difficulty telling time on an analog clock, memorizing math facts and sequences, and learning sight words. They tend to be very poor at spelling, and their reading is typically slow, choppy, and inaccurate. High school age students may have a limited vocabulary and very poor written expression. They often have difficulty mastering a foreign language and reading sheet music. These students tend to have poor grades in many of their classes and have an increased chance of dropping out. While employees of the Fargo Public School District are not qualified to label or diagnose dyslexia, it is crucial to identify students who struggle in school so their needs may be addressed. Once again, referencing the 2016 article from the International Literacy Association, students classified as dyslexic have varying strengths and challenges, and teaching them is too complex a task for a scripted one-size-fits-all program. Optimal instruction calls for teachers' professional expertise and responsiveness, and for the freedom to act on the basis of that professionalism. When teachers use professional expertise to match the intervention to an area of skill or instruction deficit, students demonstrate the most success. The supplemental handout provides links to research articles the work group studied to better inform decisions. Over the course of a year and a half, the task force worked to address the phonemic and phonological deficits commonly associated with dyslexia, the needs of our students, and the interventions available for these students. Throughout Phase 2 of the curriculum review cycle, examining educational research, the task force shifted their thinking from a focus on students who struggle with dyslexia or phonemic and phonological awareness to looking at foundational literacy skills that will support student proficiency in all areas of reading. An action research project was developed to pilot research-based programs which address phonemic and phonological awareness. The action research consisted of 3 intervention programs: Road to the Code, Road to Reading, and the Sunday System. Students who participated in the action research were given a pre- and post-assessment and monitored weekly for progress. The task force looked at the data collected by teachers in the summer of 2017 and found that the gains with all 3 of these interventions supported student progress. The task force submitted a recommendation for the approval of all 3 intervention programs to the teaching and learning directors.
I love reading, and she helped me know words that I didn't really know how to pronounce.
It is important that the teacher knows their role when working with a student who is struggling with any area of reading. Classroom teachers regularly collect specific data on student needs and areas of concern. If minimal progress is made towards the skill after specific and ongoing direct instruction, the teacher should schedule an MTSS team meeting. The MTSS team will hear the concerns and review the specific documented data provided by the teacher. The team may recommend a particular intervention to address the student's need. Should an intervention be used, it is important for regular progress monitoring to occur. When approximately 6 data points are gathered, the MTSS team should reconvene to evaluate the success of the intervention. Additional information regarding the interventions used in the action research can be found in the video handout. All elementary buildings were provided Kit 1 of the Sunday System this fall. Road to the Code, Road to Reading, and additional Sunday System kits and card decks are available for checkout through the DIR.